How do you react when a new player joins your team? What's the worst pitch you've ever played on? And would you crumble if you met the manager of your favourite football team? Find out on this week's episode of the Youth Football Podcast. Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the Youth Football Podcast. I'm your host Adam Binney, joined by Robbie McDonald, Angus Blacklock, and we have another debutant, Ben Stirling, joining us for the very first time, the latest recruit of the YFS team, the newest member of our volunteer cohort. How we all been? We'll start with yourself, Robbie. Usually you've had some mad trip at the weekend. Where were you? Were you up following Ross County for the game against Celtic at the weekend?
Was indeed. Wish I wasn't. Terrible afternoon on Saturday. Obviously, playing Celtic, you're kind of hoping we'll go into it. I had to go. You have to go just in case it is the one time that you manage to get a result against the Old Firm.
I need to ask you, though, Robbie, how much do you think you spend, in a year, on following Ross County?
Well, this is the thing. Now that because I'm under 22, you get the free bus.
Aye.
So I think because I spend half my life on it, it's more how much time have I spent following County than having money. That's the real costly exercise of it, and how much stress as well that team puts me through. But of course, thinking I give it a go just in case it's time we get a result, and then 10 minutes in, one scything challenge down to 10 men, and dreams are shattered.
I can't believe you've done that, by the way. That's an absolute shocker.
So I had that. Then
it could be worse. You could have been Angus.
That is true.
Obviously, my team, Hearts, facing the other side of the Old Firm, unfortunately, in the League Cup semi-final. I was there at Hampden. When your team gets to Hampden, you have to go just in case. Like Robbie says, it's that one time you beat the Old Firm at Hampden. But Hearts have never beaten Rangers at Hampden, and unfortunately, that run continued at the weekend. So a real disappointment on Sunday to make it 2 defeats in a week against Rangers. But yeah, it's not going great for my team at the moment.
Yeah, Angus, that was. I can imagine that was quite upsetting. It was, I would say, Hearts' style was offensive to some, but not as offensive as your mustache that I'm looking at through the screen just now. I'm guessing you're having a go at Movember.
Trying my best.
Halloween's over, mate. You're looking terrible.
Wow. Come on, Andy. Come on. You're better than that.
I had to do it. Right. Let's talk about the UEFA Youth League as well as we always got to do in European week. Tough one to take for Celtic. Hat-trick for Real Belgrade and a 4-0 victory for Atletico Madrid. Just been called up to the Algeria under-20s, so I think there's going to be a little bit of a fight for Belgrade between Algeria and Spain to make sure that he pledges his international allegiance to the one that wants him the most. Fernando Torres, of course, manager of that Atletico Madrid side. We nearly got the interview. We spoke about that in last week's episode. So unfortunately, that means that Celtic will not progress from the group, but ends their hopes. They're bottom of the group with 1 point from just 4 games, but they are up against some really, really tough opposition. They'll play for pride in the final 2 matches, away to Lazio and then at home to Feyenoord. We'll have Youth Football Scotland reporters at those games, hopefully, to try and bring you all of the updates from those matches. Unfortunately, no reporter in Madrid today, so we've missed out on Torres again. I actually heard a rumour that Torres was gutted in Spain today. Was expecting Daniel Guilfoyle to appear in his office. Can anyone confirm?
I heard there was something in the interview. He was asking about other journalists for Daniel, but unfortunately Daniel couldn't make the trip over.
Absolutely gutted. We need to speak about the Scotland women's team as well over last weekend. Really tough one to take on Friday, losing 4-0 away to the Netherlands. It was then just a 1-0 defeat in the home tie. Much better display in front of the home fans. I believe that was on the was that the Monday or the Tuesday? Was it a Tuesday, that game? Yeah, that was the Tuesday. So a really tough start to life in League A of the Nations League. Just 1 point from the opening 3 games. Basically need to win the last two games to avoid relegation. Can they do it, Robbie?
I hope so. There is a chance. There's always a chance. I believe they've got Belgium away from home right at the start of December, and if they win that game, it could set up an absolutely outstanding contest at Hampden when they face England at home on the 5th. But it's going to be a tough one to win 2 out of 2. But there is a chance there could be a wee relegation playoff with the old enemy.
Yeah, we're due a penalty against England after the last game as well. Absolutely.
They've been unlucky with injuries, though. To be fair, you look at Real Madrid star Caroline Weir rupturing her ACL, and your favourite footballer Emma Watson also rupturing her ACL. They've been very unlucky with injuries that they have received, so they've not exactly been helped in that sense.
Angus, Scotland 21 squad out for the next couple of Jambos in there as well, I believe.
Yeah, Alex Lowry in there. Good to see him get a call up. Obviously, Josh Doig out playing in Serie A. Loving life out there, named captain in the squad, which was good to see.
Should be in the
2 away trips.
Should be there.
Yeah,
Tierney and Robertson injured.
Yeah, especially with the injuries, I would be surprised if he still isn't called up to the men's squad. Obviously, there is still that chance, but I think it's a wee bit more unlikely the fact that he's been named captain of the 21 squad. But 2 difficult away trips to Belgium and Hungary coming up for the squad, but ones that I'm confident they can get positive results in.
Ben, you must be excited to watch the 21s this week. Your namesake, Ben Doak, of course, in the squad again. Hoping to see more of them, if he's fit, of course.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to be honest, I'd like to see him play for the senior team. Maybe come off the bench every now and then, because he's a great player, to be fair. Yeah, I feel like see the national team. I feel like we're getting a lot more good youth academy players coming through. I mean, you've got the likes of Ben Doak. You've got Rory Wilson as well. He's a good example. There's quite a lot of them, to be fair. Kieran Bowie, possibly.
Yeah. It's interesting that they're playing for a whole variety of different teams. I think if you looked at the makeup of a Scotland under 21 squad maybe 10, 15 years ago, I think it would pretty much be a Rangers, maybe not 21s, but definitely your 17s and 19s. I can remember historically it always looked like a Rangers and Celtic select, if you like. But there's a lot of boys playing down south, there's a lot of boys playing abroad. And then once you get to 21s, it's more spread out, because a lot of the boys that are playing first team football for senior sides then get call-ups. But it's nice to see a bit more variety and a bit of diversity amongst the teams that these guys are playing for. But right, Robbie, I need to speak to you about this. Have you seen the pitch? Right, we're going to talk about the Victory Shield, of course. The Sky Sports Victory Shield that started yesterday. Did you see the pitch they were playing on?
It's an absolute disgrace, isn't it?
Cowfield.
Can't believe it.
How is that allowed to happen?
This is one of the big tournaments for this under-16s team. Every single year, the team goes up against the Northern Ireland, Wales, and the whole tournament is being held in the same country. So you think they would maybe put a bit of effort into keeping their pitches in good condition?
I think in the defence of Wales, the host nation, I think they were hit pretty badly by the storms last week, so that obviously won't help the pitches. But still, I have to agree, the pitches didn't look great. I think I've played in better pitches recently.
Yeah. It's just because it is one of the most famous youth international tournaments around. The Victory Shield is always on Sky Sports. It's a great when you were younger, you would always watch it and support Scotland. I remember maybe 10, 15 years ago, you'd get really good crowds at the games as well. It's just a little disappointing to see that the pitches look terrible. I actually think the game today got moved to a different venue because the pitch was absolutely terrible. But Robbie, no England in this competition anymore. What's happened there?
England used to be in it. It used to be a kind of home nations tournament, but England got too big for their boots and decided to withdraw in 2015, which is, to be fair, they used to win it nearly every year, so it's probably best for the rest of us that they've decided to give it up. But no, Republic of Ireland have stepped in, taken their place, and Republic of Ireland have won it, I think, 3 out of the last 5. So they've really marked stamped their authority on the tournament.
Yeah, I've got to give a massive shout out as well to my favourite player in the Scotland under-16 squad, the captain, Jacob Donnelly, that plays for Celtic. Anyone got any reason as to why he's my favourite player? Two reasons. One, look at his hair, fantastic. He's got a mane, looks like a lion's mane, down at his shoulders. And second, he is a Joga futsal teammate of mine. He plays for the best futsal team in Scotland. So
of course.
Of course, yeah. Young Jacob, probably old enough to be his dad, and he's a much better player than me. So, good to see him captain the Scotland under-16 side. Hopefully, he doesn't get too big, or we won't have him at Joga anymore. Selfishly, but top player, great to see him captain it, and hopefully, Scotland can kick on and perform better in the next two games than they did in that first game against the Republic of Ireland. 1-0 defeat in the opening game. Angus, Robbie's putting the notes here that Cole Burke was on the bench for Scotland, son of ex-Ross County and Scotland winger Chris Burke.
Brilliant.
Yeah, obviously following in the footsteps of his father, it's great to see young talent like that coming through. So yeah, good to see them come through, and obviously he'll be trying to follow the footsteps of his dad and become a professional footballer.
Yeah, Robbie, before you butt in, pal, right? Of all of the things you can describe Chris Burke as, you've went with ex-Ross County.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd pick the pinnacle of his footballing career to highlight his father's success, no?
Well, so Chris Burke, that played, 7 or 8 seasons at Rangers, came through the Rangers Academy, 7 or 8 seasons at Rangers, well over 200 appearances in the English Championship, probably over 300 in his career. Then a Kilmarnock legend, but he played, 6 times for Ross County, and you're saying ex-Ross County in the notes.
Scored in one goal in his 6 games, which is not a bad hit rate. I think if he wasn't hampered with his virus at the time of the club, he could have gone on to become a Ross County legend. But luckily for himself, he did manage to get those 6 games that he can look back on for the rest of his life with pride.
Teary me. I just thought that was pretty out of order from you there. I think Chris Burke will be offended that you've reduced him to 6 games in Ross County as a highlight of his career. A man that's achieved so much in the game. Wales and Northern Ireland jumped 1-0 in the opening game, so we'll take on Northern Ireland on Wednesday night with that change of venue, and then we'll finish against the hosts Wales on Friday. Scotland under 16 squad's been announced, and Robbie, finally the information we were looking for a few weeks ago has come in.
It has indeed. I was frantically trying to do my research on Olivia McStay when you had your little shout that she might be a relation to the Celtic legend, and indeed she is the niece of Paul McStay.
I thought so. That's it's too much of a coincidence, isn't it? It's quite an uncommon name, McStay. So if Olivia can achieve half of what her uncle did in the game, then she'll be doing very well. He won the under 18s Euros. I think that tweet that you received said so. Let's hope that the under 16s can do something similar. There's a couple of other players you've highlighted, Robbie, that you'd like to speak about as well in that 16 squad.
Yeah, Chloe Arafat Wood, a fullback at Barcelona at just 15 years old, which is pretty impressive. I can't remember many young Scotland talents who have played at Barcelona, so that's always
You still have what was the big boy that played at Real Madrid? Jack Harper.
The one who went on to Brighton, did he?
Yeah, he was at Real Madrid. That was quite cool at the time. Then years and years ago, obviously Steve Archibald played for Barcelona. But I think in terms of Spanish guys playing in the Spanish league, there's not many. Kieran Tierney now at Real Sociedad, but that's pretty cool. And then there's another one that you picked out for a fantastic name for a Scotland player.
Alba Stewart, unbelievable. Alba, of course.
Oh, that's so good, so good.
She's got to be destined to play for Scotland with a name like that.
Yeah, Angus, surely Alba Stewart's getting 300 caps.
She deserves it just in the name alone. Let's be honest. No, she'll earn it. Obviously, she's a great player. Obviously, making the squad. And yeah, I think hopefully she's destined for a career in the Scotland national team.
Yeah, so Scotland will play Ireland next Tuesday and Thursday, so both games taking place at the Oriam. So if you want to go and see a Barcelona full-back player with the best name ever, absolutely get yourself down there. Or the niece of Paul McStay, amongst plenty others. I've done an interview with Sophie Black, who's played in that team as well. Sophie Black, top player, started her career at Gifford, now at Rangers. Great player. Great girl, so definitely if you can try and get down and watch the Scotland women's under 16s at the Oriam next Tuesday and Thursday. Ben, Scotland men's under 19 squads just been named. If you look at the notes that Robbie has compiled, Ben, you'll notice that there is one player that sticks out, of course, that has to be mentioned every single time. Dylan Smith in the Scotland under 19 squad, as he always is. But there's nothing special about this. He's always in the squad, but Robbie has to put him in because he plays for Ross County.
To be fair, most under 19 teams, players are usually from, you get teams from England, top to Celtic, Rangers. But I mean, fair play to Ross County for having a actual decent young player getting put in the under 19s, and you've also got Ryan. I don't know how to say his last name. Is it
Ryan O'Neill? Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of glad that Hamilton sold him, because Hamilton are looking quite good in the league at the moment. So
and of course, Falkirk fans, you must be delighted that Hamilton got the two of their top players in the summer.
Exactly. I mean, I'll take it. Any sort of selling their good players, I'll take it. So hopefully Falkirk can go on and win the league as well. Would be delighted.
Yeah, but Robbie, Ryan O'Neill seems to be a special talent. Made his Premier League debut last week.
Yeah, unbelievable. Came off the bench against Arsenal, who are obviously one of the biggest teams in world football, not just England. So getting that kind of exposure at such a young age can only do well for the boy. He played, I think, 21 times for Hamilton before he moved to Sheffield. So he has got that kind of first team experience, but of course it's a completely different level playing in the Premier League than it is to play in the likes of Ben's Falkirk.
So Falkirk are a top team.
No,
we'll be in the Premiership soon.
No, Falkirk have taken their fair share of abuse from us on this podcast before, so we'll leave them alone.
It won't be long until we see a Falkirk player in the under-19 Scotland team.
Oh, who do you think that will be?
Honestly, no idea. But there's a few good players, to be fair.
Yeah,
you've got Logan Sinclair. He's quite good.
What do you make a young TJ Gibb, the goalkeeper?
Yeah, he's good.
He's good. Have you watched him play?
I haven't watched him play, but I've heard of him on Twitter.
Yeah. What a guy, TJ Gibb, the younger brother of one of my friends from school, so I had to get that one in as well. But the best player in the entire academy, of course, is Cooper Knox, another one of my Joga futsal teammates. So Cooper was on the bench for the first time a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully he'll kick on and get his first team debut at some point this season. If Falkirk are to get any chance of promotion this year, then Robbie, surely Cooper Knox has to be starting.
There's a lot of young boys in your futsal team, mate. Is it?
I'm the oldest player, mate.
Are they teaching you how to do things?
No, they wanted to bring in a bit of experience, so brought in a 21-year-old.
Do you feel like you're teaching them? Do you think they're taking anything away from your game?
Absolutely not. They're showing me how to do it. they're all better than me. Absolutely. Let's talk about the SWF Youth Challenge Cup semi-finals. We'll later be hearing from Danny, Emily and Amelia from Glasgow Girls, as well as Stephen and Jenna from Pennycook Athletic from the under-18 side of the competition. They're going to provide a more in-depth preview about the under-18s final that will be coming up in 2 weeks' time at Ochilview Stadium. But let's talk about the 14s and 16s. So I guess we'll start with the under-14s. Can you run us through the results from there?
Of course. So Giffnet Black defeated Central Girls 1-0 in the first semi-final, and Glasgow Girls defeated Dumbarton United 5-1 away from home in the second semi-final, both to make it to the final and play against each other in a couple of weeks. In the under-16s, Dunfermline Athletic Whites were defeated 2-1 by Musselburgh Windsor at home, and Holytown Colts Reds were defeated 5-3 by Hamilton Academical 14s. to make it to the final. And the final take place on 19th of November at Oakleview on the ground of Stennismuir.
Yeah. Have any of you seen the goal from the Giffnock game? 1-0. So Callie Clifford Demetrio, Scottish Cypriot young midfielder, scored an absolute belter to send Giffnock 16s into the final. So if you get the chance, head over to Giffnock social media pages and look for that. It's an absolute belter. But yeah, as you said, there are some fantastic stories amongst the squads, and we will be hearing later from Danny, Emily, and Amelia. Angus, I think you were there last year, at the finals last year. Can you remember anything from that? Anything that sticks out to you?
Yeah, YFS produced a bumper day of coverage that day for the SWF Finals Day. It was last November. We had a number of members of the team there. It was a great event to cover. I think it was at least 3 games, might even have been 4 games that we covered, and to experience different ways of covering the finals. Our very own Ewan Wood almost dropping a camera pitch.
That was brilliant. It was so cold, wasn't it? And like Ewan's hands were freezing.
It was a look around after it to see if anybody had noticed that he dropped it as well.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was a great day. Robbie, you weren't present, were you? Because you were away singing songs in America or something like that. What were you doing?
I wasn't singing songs, but I was away on exchange studying hard in America.
Yeah, but I just feel like is it not just like a permanent musical at University in America? No.
Yeah, you're not wrong. We've had a boy on before from who's doing one of these scholarships, obviously, and it's a completely different world out there to here. There's a big football scene, a big soccer scene that's coming in over there, but. No, I did. The main problem was the time zone, though.
Ben, we're gonna have our coverage of the SWF finals in 2 weeks' time. Can we expect a YFS debut from yourself at Oakleview, perhaps near your ends?
I will probably be there. I hope to be there anyway. But yeah, I should be there. Hopefully, I mean, you've mentioned before about people making their first mistake, so hopefully that doesn't happen to me. But I mean,
it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I hope not. I hope not.
Yeah, we have all made mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes. Robbie's made plenty. I'm sure Adam's made plenty as well. So
yeah,
you won't be alone in that.
It's going to happen, and then we're going to have to talk about it on the podcast because Tubesy, after we were speaking about Tubesy last week, he had a bit of a mistake today, not on his YFS debut, but in his professional. As we'll say, professional football debut on the media side. I walked into the kind of press room at the Hibs training centre today and met Hibs #1 fan Daniel Tubesy McLeod. Saw his stupid little island face, and he's Autumn, how you doing? I was like, right, good Tubesy, good to see you, mate, good to see you. Press conference goes. He was on work experience for the Hibs Observer. And I was like, that's brilliant, getting some great experience and whatever. So we do the press conference, goes great, all fine. And Tubesy had one job for the press conference, which was to transcribe Nick Montgomery, his quotes. So as Liam from the Hibs Observer that was looking after Tubesy says to him, Daniel, can you transcribe Nick Montgomery's quotes? He goes, yeah, but it's not actually recorded. He's like, I've got a Rocky Bashiri if you want that, but I'm not intending for not to record. So as soon as I heard them say it, and he was, bless him, he felt bad, but as soon as I heard them say it, I was like, that is definitely going in the podcast tonight. I'm gonna out him.
Is that worse than Danny recording an interview in slow-mo?
Nah, nothing's worse than that. Nothing's worse than that. It's just funny because it was like it's like Hibs is like the team he supports and like he's speaking to the manager for the first time and it's just a big occasion. But no, he got the stuff and he got the stuff and he transcribed it. Okay, so he had a good first day, and he was in asking questions and speaking to the manager, and he done really well. So great to see another one of the YFS Academy graduates making their way in the professional side of the game. So good on you, Daniel. But I had to make sure that we out on the podcast.
Did you offer him any helping hand when you could see he was in such disarray?
No, because
for himself.
I left him to defend him for himself. I was never sending him the fridge. No, I'm joking. I was in the broadcast side. He was in the written press, so I couldn't. It was a different press conference anyway. I didn't have the stuff. Right, enough of slagging. Tubesy, we've got 5 very special guests joining us: Danny, Emily, and Amelia from Glasgow Girls. And then just later on, we'll have Stephen and Jenna from Pennycook Athletics. So, Robbie, I believe they're going to speak to us a little bit about the upcoming under-18s SWF Youth Challenge Cup finals.
They are indeed. Both teams got brilliant wins at the weekend. Pennycook, of course, winning 7-3 against Glasgow City. But their opposition, Glasgow Girls, also got the win 3-2 against Musselburgh Windsor. So that sets up a pretty exciting tie for the under-18s final. So we are now joined by Stephen and Jenna after their fantastic win at the weekend in the semi-final of the Scottish Women's Football Youth Challenge Cup. Stephen, do you want to just take us through that game and just the highs and the lows of the semi-final?
There was a few highs, definitely, and a few lows. Girls started on fire first half. I really do think they were unusually wasteful in front of goal, to be fair, and it could have been done it could have been 4 or 5 up by half time and nobody could have complained. But testament to Glasgow City, they came out and we knew they would in the second half. We always say the next goal is important, and they got it, and we thought we'd done enough to get the third goal. But yeah, it was a good battle, and I think any neutral that was there would have really actually enjoyed the game. I think it was a cracking advert for the girls' football. But ultimately, I think when it got to extra time, we were definitely a stronger team. Obviously, them having the players sent off didn't help their situation, but to be fair, in the first half, they could have been down to 10 players through a tackle and a wee striker as well. So I think we deserved it overall. There's no doubt. I think the girls merited the win, which was great, because that's the second year in a row that we've made it to the National Cup competition final.
Jenna, I'm interested to know your thoughts on this, because we've spoken about national competitions in this podcast a lot. Usually there's 4 of us on and we try and talk about our own experiences in the Scottish Cup, where I think when we went through it one day, there was maybe 4 or 5 of us on. Nobody got by the third round ever. Now, that's 2 finals in a row. Tell us, how do you do it and how does it feel?
It is just through hard work. I'm the captain of the team. It does help when everyone's wanting to be there and everyone's staying positive the whole time. It does, obviously, it feels great to know that we're capable of doing that and using all the training that we've had and applying that into our games. It is really a great opportunity and a great feeling for us to be able to do it, really.
I must have... Oh, sorry. No, crack on.
I just wanted to ask, is it a different feeling this year? The fact you've already been there last year and now going ahead into this semi-final, were you thinking more of, right, we belong in this final, we need to get there, rather than last year where it might have been more of a celebration when you got there?
I mean, obviously, it's 18s this season, so it was harder. I feel like we never thought we were, deserved to be there. We just, in every game, we put in the tough work. We've done what we could to try and get there, but we never felt like it was our place to be there.
Yeah, Stephen, sorry, I cut you off. You were just about to say something.
No, I was just going to say, Jenna's just hit the nail on the head, the hard work. I mean, they drive me crazy when we're coaching them, but, they do put the work in and training. There's girls that have came to us from other teams and they love the training that we do, because it's really technical stuff. There's a lot of fitness, but, we try and make it as enjoyable as we can. And they're getting the rewards, simple as that. Their fitness is told in a few the games as well, which is good, but it's not just fitness. We do play football. we don't just, as one of our parents used to say, hoof the ball. We do try and play through the lines. So we're not a traditional Scottish team there. We do try and play through the stages. And that was seen on Sunday. A few of the goals and loads of chances where we slipped it through the gaps. And it was great to see. So I'm proud of the girls. There's absolutely no doubt. I'm proud of them. And for a second year in a row, as Jenna mentioned, she touched on that. We're first year 18s. We're a young team. And we've used that experience from last year, which has shown in the games.
Was that the 16s final last year? Was that against Gifford?
Yeah, you were there. I remember you there.
Yeah, I remember watching the game. Played brilliant that day. So you're hoping make it 2 in a row this time at a bigger age group.
I think it's well within their capability. I mean, Glasgow City are top of their league. I know that Glasgow girls beat Glasgow City just recently, so it will be a tough game. But I've got no doubt if our girls rock up, they'll do us proud no matter what. But I've got every faith that they'll take us, to that final stage and lift the cup if they apply themselves and play the way that I know they can.
It's a big scalp as well. Glasgow City, of course, one of the biggest names, and it's not just Scottish women's football, but British women's football as well. Of course, competing in the Champions League with their women's side this season. So for you guys at Pennycook to follow up the success of last year and knock out one of the biggest clubs in women's football at the semi-final stage, you must take great confidence from that going into the final as well.
Yeah, you're spot on. I mean, when we look at the names that we've beaten over the last 2 years, it's quite scary because we've got I've got an under 14s, well, so an under 12s, an under 10s, and an under 8s, and our under 18s now. We've got a big gap there. We've not got a massive academy. We beat Giffnock, who are huge. We beat Central, who are huge. We beat St Mirren. We beat Dunfermline. We've beaten Jeanfield. We've beaten Aberdeen, and then Glasgow City. For a small town, I mean, Pennycook's only got about 15 to 20,000 people live here. It's massive. And most of the girls are very local. They're all within a few miles. Absolutely proud of them, and the whole town is.
And you hoping then that'll... Oh, sorry, on you go, Robbie. On you go.
What do you think it is about, such a small area and such a kind of small club compared to some of these clubs that you've talked about? What do you think it is that you do differently that kind of sets you apart and allows you to compete with some of these bigger teams?
I think a lot of it is the camaraderie that they have. A lot of them go to school together. There's girls from Outwith, just out of South Edinburgh, that are friends. So, they're a close-knit bunch. There's different ages. They're 16 and 17 years old. So they're not all, friends, but they get on brilliantly, and I think the success that we've brought has brought that tighter and closer. I think that's the main thing. A lot of them know each other anyway. And when people came in, we've got a couple of girls that are out with. One's from Cumbernauld that plays with us, and she says that the group of girls made her completely welcome from day one. We've got another girl that's just joined us from Musselburgh and says the same. Says that the girls, just get on with it and they make them welcome. And that's a testament to the girls again. Because it's quite easy. Girls can be funny or players can be funny. In general, when somebody new comes in, all they're thinking is, what position do they play? Is that my position? But a lot of the girls have just embraced that and just says, you know what, it lifts the group when somebody new comes in because they think we've got to try harder. But yeah, they're a great group.
Stephen, you've obviously women's football's come on leaps and bounds in the past couple of years. Have you noticed a big difference in the amount of players joining Pennycook since the Euros and the World Cup in recent years?
Well, our young group have really exploded. Yeah, they've taken off. The under 8s was the first time we've had an under 8 since I was in charge of the kids back 9 years ago. But we've got the under 10s who've got two big squads. We've got the under 12s got a big squad, and they're flying. They're the next ones to watch. They're going up to under 14s, and they've been beating the Hutchie, the Hibs, everybody. And they're a cracking little team. I think they've got more better players than what I did at that age, as in they seem to have a bigger squad, and that must be because of the explosion in women's football. I would say, attracting that. But we've actually got a young player that came from Edinburgh because they've seen what our team is doing. So we're attracting, other players that we'd never have got from outside of Penicuik. It was very local and insular before, but now we're attracting those players.
Yeah, one for Jenna. Just on that point, it seems like the club is growing, especially for in the younger age groups. Jenna, do you now feel like you and your teammates have? Well, first of all, you have been trailblazers, but do you now feel like you're role models for the younger kids in the club, and you think the success of your team over this season and last season, perhaps that's also one of the reasons as to why so many kids are deciding to take up football and play from such a young age?
I think it definitely has helped with the girls' side, because even when we're having like local games, all the younger teams come along and support and watch. And they do like seeing us play, because they think, oh, if I play hard, if I do this, then I could possibly be like that in the future. And it is a nice feeling to know that there's younger ones watching you, so you try your best to show what hard work can do. It pays off, definitely.
Yeah,
but I feel like...
Yeah. I'll continue, on you go. Keep going.
I feel like it definitely has like helped the younger girls join in, having us to look up to.
He spoke about how tight-knit the group are, the camaraderie. What do you put that down to? Why is that? Why do you think everyone in your team gets on so well? How do you go around creating this atmosphere, especially with the role you've got as club captain? It seems like it's a massive part of the team's success. How do you instill that in a group like yours?
I mean, we all share the same passion. We all love football, and although we are used to winning, we do play because we enjoy it, and we play because we enjoy being part of this team, this club. And it is just, when everyone's at training, we have fun, we just enjoy it as much as we can, because obviously everyone comes from different backgrounds in that, so you get to have that time together, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, Stephen made an interesting point as well about when new players come in, there's not like, oh, what position do they play? Everyone's welcoming. That Robbie Angus, I don't know about you, but that wouldn't have been me. I'd have been sharpening the studs for training the next day. That's
I'm not saying everybody's like that, by the
way. But no, it really does sound like you've got a great group there, and I'm sure you can go all the way again this year. Stephen, what's next for this group? Then, of course, you've got this big final coming up. Though it's not this weekend, but the weekend after. Yeah. What would make this a successful season for you as manager? What do you hope to achieve?
We're top of the league just now. We're joint top with Livingston. We're unbeaten, but we've still got to play Livingston twice, Musselburgh Windsor twice, and Musselburgh Windsor twice. These are the top, because there's a split in our league. So every single game between now and the end of the season is a final, I'll be honest with you. So to be even contesting when we've got a young team involved, that's what our plan was at the start, just to compete. We've surpassed that. We got to the League Cup final in June, the South East Cup, and Jeanfield for me was probably the best team at that time in Scotland, in our level, and we gave them a fright. We got back. I think, if I think you were there, if it went another 5 minutes, who knows what might have happened. I think it could have went to extra time, but I think that taught them a lesson, because that was an experienced Jeanfield team that we played, and it's given them the belief to move on and get to where we're at. I would love for us to get the double, like last year. But you know what? I know that I'll not be through lack of trying. I know that for a fact. So that's, all the parents, all the coaches are proud of what they've achieved so far. But I think we've got in us to take it to that just finish off really high.
Yeah. Yeah. What about on a kind of longer term goals and ambitions? Jenna, where do you see yourself in, let's say 3, 4, 5 years with the club, or even beyond that? What are your own ambitions in the game?
I mean, I'm obviously definitely wanting to continue playing football, hopefully push myself to tougher teams, playing against different teams, but definitely continuing. I'm currently in the process of a scholarship to America, so hopefully I get to go over there and play and build on what I already have got, all my skills that I've already got.
Fantastic. Robbie, Angus, anything else you want to ask before we let Stephen and Jenna go?
Just push them on a score prediction for their final.
Well, put it this way, we played them pre-season in a friendly, and we had a lot of injuries, and that's not an excuse. We only had 11 players, and it was actually a very, very good game. So I think the neutral will enjoy the game. I think there will be a few goals in it, to be fair. We drew 5-5 with them. It was a topsy-turvy game. So, listen, I've got every faith these girls will do the business for me. So I think something like last year, I think 3-1 or 4-2 to Bennycook. Is that what you were going to say?
I was going to say, I think the same as our score last year. We'll go 3-1.
3-1. I love the optimism. Listen, Stephen, Jenna, thank you very much for joining us this evening to chat about the Cup final. Youth Football Scotland will be at the game, so if anyone listening wants to make sure they're kept right up to date with everything going on in that game, you can head over to Youth Football Scotland social media channels, and we will be providing you with all of the match coverage. So Stephen, Jenna, thank you very much, and all the best of luck.
Thank you very much. See you next week.
Thank you.
So we are joined by Danny, Amelia and Emily from Glasgow Girls ahead of their Scottish Women's Football Youth Challenge Cup final. I believe that he's had a fantastic win in the semi-final at the weekend. Amelia, perhaps you could take us through some of the goals in that game and just how the game played out as a whole.
Oh, the game overall was a fantastic game. It started off a bit slow for us. They got the first goal, but shortly after I ended up scoring to even it out, which was good to finish half-time on a 1-1. So which really motivated us to go back into the second half. But we ended up conceding again. So it was 2-1. But we shortly stood after again, brought it back, and then we finished with a penalty to finish it at 3-2, which is an amazing result, an amazing game overall.
Cool. Tell us about your own goal then. Your own goal.
God, I had such a rush. It was just the ball was played over from the left, and the girl just tapped it across. I was just making the run. I was in the right place at the right time, and it was just a tap in really because it really wasn't in our goals. But overall, no, it was a great, and I just turned around and see all the girls running up for a big hug. It just lifted the atmosphere so much.
Yeah, Danny, how proud are you of these girls? I believe will that be 3 finals? I think you've got a couple in the next 2 weeks. Will that be 3 finals overall for the season?
Yeah, Robbie, it'll be 3 finals for the season, and also competing to win the league as well. So, so far, the girls have been outstanding. We've got a relatively small squad, and we've been challenging on all fronts. So it's really good.
Amelia, it's been an impressive season so far. Do you want to talk us through not just the semi-final, but the run to the cup final so far?
It kind of started off early stages. We were away to Stonehaven, so a bit of a jaunt up there for Glasgow. So we came back successful there. It was a proper away day, and then we actually met the other Musselburgh Windsor team in the quarterfinals. They were a really good team as well. Made it tough for us, but we came through in the end. And then obviously the semi-final was Musselburgh Windsor, and again it was a close game. It was a proper cup semi-final. Sorry, a really good game for a neutral fan. Speaking to a few at the end, and I was even speaking to the paramedic that was there for the day, and he says it was an unbelievable game of football. Not so great when it's close like that for a coach, because it gets the nerves going,
You obviously had that trip up to Stonehaven and Scottish Cup. Long away trips are always what the Scottish Cup is about. Was it good to travel and be a part of the team that went up north for the Scottish Cup?
Yeah, it was a really good experience, just playing a completely different area. And it was great, especially coming away with the win after all that travelling. It just made the journey back even better. And I think even when we went out after the game as a team, it was really good. It was a great experience.
Will you be hoping for some more of those celebrations in the final then?
Yep, definitely.
Amelia, you've touched on your goal in the semi-final. Have you got any other kind of personal highlights from the journey?
Just being how much we've grown as a team together. We started off in January, didn't really know where this team would come from, as we were all from like all over the place, as we were a brand new team. And to come this far, and now we've been in 3 cup finals, it's just amazing. The friendships that we've made in this team has been outstanding, and some of the goals that we've scored has just been a starting for all the girls, and it's just overall been a great experience, and I'm so happy to be in the team, to be honest.
Emily, have you got any personal highlights from the trip, from the journey in the tournament? Sorry.
I think just playing with the girls, getting good experience, playing different teams that we don't usually play. It's been really good overall.
What brought you to Glasgow Girls? Like you were saying, how it's such a new team, Amelia. What kind of got you involved in the first place?
Well, I think the first thing that helped is when we all were signed, we all went to Lanzarote. Well, a good few of us went to Lanzarote for a training camp for 2 weeks, and I think it was a really good experience for us all to get palling, to get to know how we each play and everything. And then when we came back, obviously we'd already had that kind of head start of like team bonding and teamwork, and I think that really helped to grow us as a team and to help us build like such good connections with each other, which has obviously benefited us so much down the line, as we're all such good friends and we all know how each other work now.
Emily, how did you originally get into football? Was it watching it on the TV, or was it just getting down to the park and playing with your friends?
Well, my brother, he's also a goalkeeper, so I think just going and watching him play, it just made me fall in love with football. And eventually his team, a younger team started for my age group, and I just thought I might as well get in, and I've just loved it ever since.
And Amelia, what about yourself? How did you get involved with the Glasgow Girls and the game in general?
Funny enough, it was my big brother played football as well, and my dad was a coach also, so I used to be at the games and see it firsthand, and then I just thought, why don't I give it a go? And I've turned out to absolutely love it, and it's been the best thing that I've done so far.
And have either of you noticed a difference in more people playing the game after the recent World Cup and the Women's Euros in the past couple of years?
100%. I think women's football has came up so much, and there's so many girls playing football now, and it definitely helps them be on to about the games that are getting like subsidised, which is a really good like opportunity for a lot of young girls to get involved in, because I think it's a great thing, like a great sport for a lot of girls to get into.
Right, so how are the two of you, well, as a team, how are you preparing for this final?
I think just keep working hard in training, do what we're doing. I mean, we've had a couple good games recently, and I hope we can continue that form and take it into the final. We know Penicuik are a good team, but I feel we have the skill and we have the team chemistry to go and win this.
Amelia, how important is it to train well in the lead up to the final, just to make sure that you're starting, obviously, with the competition for places in the squad?
Oh, it's so important, because we work on a lot of drills and training that we straight away can take straight into the game, and that's what we try and do. Everything that we work in training, we're trying to get to just use in the games. We've got training tonight, so we're going to be hard at work tonight as well, and hopefully this will bring us the win on Sunday and following Sunday.
But just to finish you off, I'm going to have to push you for an answer. Can we get your predictions for the final?
What, the score predictions?
Score prediction, yes.
I'll need to say a good 2-1 to Glasgow Girls.
Emily?
Well, I don't want it to be a close game, but I think it might be, so I'm going to go for 3-2 to Glasgow Girls.
Perfect. Thank you to both of you for coming on, and we wish you the best of luck in the final.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to hear from Stephen and Jenna there. Also great to have Danny, Emily and Amelia from Glasgow Girls to chat to us all about that upcoming under-18 SWF Youth Challenge Cup final. Remember, we'll be bringing you all of the coverage throughout that day across at Youth Football Scotland's social media channels. Looking forward to a great day at Oakview in a couple of weeks' time. So thank you to all of our special interview guests. Thank you to Angus Blackhawk and to Robin McDonald, and to our latest YFS media team recruit Ben Stirling for joining us. Thank you also to all of our lovely listeners. We'll see you next week for episode 16 of the Youth Football Podcast.